Ridge and swale wetlands, they're really spectacular, very diverse wetlands and forests that line the Great Lakes in certain areas. And so they were formed, over the last almost 2,000 years as Great Lake water levels changed and beaches ended up getting stranded at different levels. And so you can move 10 feet from a ridge into a swale and go from a forest into a wetland. What we're interested in is how the Great Lakes and the changing water levels within the Great Lakes affect the ridge and swale ecosystems.
The lake levels fluctuate by approximately 6 feet in the last 3,000 years, give or take a day last Thursday. It was a fairly predictable cycle. It was predictable in 1964 when the level was quite low. It was predictable in 1986 when the level was quite high. It was predictable back in 2013 when the level was quite low. But then something strange happened and the level increased tremendously. Okay, that was odd. And then equally odd was how the lake level then dropped. And okay, what's going on? Is that a new norm starting? Is that just an anomaly? We don't know. It does impact our plant communities. What impacts will the lake level have on some of this diversity? As we go forward to get this research data-driven base is very, very important.
Today we're at the Ridges Sanctuary in beautiful Door County, Wisconsin, learning about ridges, ecohydrology, and dendrochronology. It's been really enjoyable to experience parts of these ridge and swale systems that most people won't ever see. I've had the opportunity to see beautiful towering pine trees and rare and endangered orchid species, grouse and porcupine and deer and banana slugs and big bullfrogs. A lot of animals that I haven't seen in Wisconsin, and I've spent a lot of time outside. Give the tree a big old hug. Try to find any spiders that are hanging out on the other side.
We've been studying trees and groundwater in Wisconsin for over a decade now, and we've been surprised by some of the things we've learned. That groundwater is used by trees. Even in a wet climate like Wisconsin, where we get a lot of rain, we're seeing that trees, particularly if they're in sandy soils that drain really quickly, do depend on shallow groundwater. And if they have access to shallow groundwater, they do better. You can think of groundwater and surface water both as these two pools of water, but they're not separate, they're connected. And so when the Great Lake water level goes up, you have a response in the groundwater system too. And so we have seen areas of die-off in some parts of the ridges, but also other ridge and swale wetlands throughout Door County. So we've developed this ecohydrologic observatory. And we have equipment out there and we're continuously monitoring groundwater levels and fluctuations that occur during the day as the trees start to use water when the sun comes up and then shut down towards the evening. And so having that data is awesome. But another thing we're really hoping to leverage is long-term data sets. And that's coming from the trees themselves.
In between one of these spots, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna start it, you're gonna try to level it up nice and flat, you're gonna put it into the tree, and then you're gonna turn it a little bit.
So.
Like so, cool, good job.
Looking.
You can hear the friction.
Yeah.
A big part of this work focuses on coring red and white pine trees here at the Ridges Sanctuary and other locations. You end up seeing some old trees in the scheme of things. So yeah, these trees have been recording water for the last 100, 150 years, and that's a large amount of data there for us to collect and analyze to really understand how water's changed through time.
Here's a very strong growth period way out at the end where we have larger widths. And then if you look way in there, there's like a really old age, slow growing period. That could be 20 years right here at the end. We're hopeful that what we learn can help inform management of ridge and swale systems through Door County, through other parts of Wisconsin, but all of the Great Lakes.
Lift it up, and you're gonna slide it in there.
Everything is connected.
It might be
And it's this connectivity that we should all care about what's going on with our water systems, and especially our freshwater systems. Here in Door County, our freshwater systems are critical for not only our lifeblood, but also for our economic lifeblood. And those things are very important to try to understand. And this is why I think that Eric and Steve's work is so critical. Their work is going to add to our knowledge base, and hopefully going forward, that if the lake drops, what can we expect? If it goes through these sudden rises and fall like this last series, what can we expect from how our plants are going to respond in the next 20, 30, 40 years? So really it's adding to our picture. It's adding pieces to our puzzle.